Hey guys, it is Tristan with Nerdette's NewsStand, and today was a new episode on the DC Universe's StarGirl. Now, this is something I have covered since episode number 1 and have been very impressed with. And I just want to say, this was the best episode yet. Everything about this, except for a few minor changes, like with Starman, who in the comics as Sylvester Pemberton is Star-Spangled Kid. Except for a few minor changes, everything in this show is pretty perfect. And comparatively, if you want to go that route, comparing it to something like Supergirl or Batwoman or The Flash, this is leagues, and I mean leagues above it. I was really impressed, so I want to talk about it. Obviously, there is going to be spoilers because I'm going to go and break down the entirety of the show. But there are some theories I also want to talk about too, so spoiler warning, this is your last shot. Let's dive right into it. And we start at Blue Valley 8 years ago, which would have been 2 years after the JSA was killed. And we see Icicle and his son Cameron, and we see somebody in the bed and some parents. Now, I'm not sure if these parents are Icicle's parents. I think they are. They could also be his wife's parents. Now, this is the scene very reminiscent of Guardians of the Galaxy, where Icicle's wife is dying of cancer. Cameron runs in with a drawing that he did for his mother, and we see the passing of her. And this is really trying to get us to be very compassionate and empathetic towards towards Jordan, towards Icicle. Now, here's the thing I really like about this. The best kind of supervillains are the ones that don't realize they're supervillains, right? The ones that think they are doing something good. And that's what he's trying to do with New America. So it's showing us this empathetic side of him, this side where we really do feel bad for Icicle as his wife dies. But then she opens her mouth and you realize the little bit of evil that's also within her. She says, fix the country, and don't let anyone try to stop you, stop them, destroy them. And you realize, maybe she's not quite as pure as what she's made out to be. So this passes us to present day, right? And we see everyone at breakfast, and we see this is just recently, right after Brainwave was, put into a coma, the fight between Courtney Stripe and Brainwave, and we see a young Courtney who's 15, very excited, and it makes sense, because she wants to find the rest of the Injustice Society and get, kind of revenge, but also, bring them to justice, right? So, we switch to the hospital with Brainwave, and he is still in a coma, but we see his son, and you see this coffee cup slightly slide over, which means I don't think this was Henry Jr. I think this was Brainwave trying to interact with his son, because we did see in previous episodes he was trying to see if he had that mental telepathy link. And I don't think he quite has it just yet. But I do think that we are seeing the slow recovery of Henry in the hospital bed, in a coma. And we are seeing just exactly where we're going to go later in the season. Now, we are going to switch to the mayor, who is the wizard, right? So, we see actually that this man, and we've seen this all along, has the most to lose. He was the one who was willing to get up and leave the entire, Blue Valley. So he has a wife, he has a son, and we've seen the son before, but we really get to meet him in this episode. There's a really good moment between the wizard and his son, and you see this happiness between them. You see this kind of twinkle in his eye as his son is showing him these tricks, and he's, kind of showing that how to do this or do this instead. Make sure you keep your audience captivated. Keep talking, distract them, So he's telling him how to do card tricks. He's really into magic, and he's a good kid. I do really like him. But then we keep seeing Jordan's calling, Icicle's calling, Jordan, you know what I mean? With this repetition, and he's ignoring him. And that doesn't last long because he shows up. And this is where we kind of get the idea between Jordan and the wizard, kind of realizing you don't really want to double cross Icicle. It's not really a very smart thing to do, but I do like that he gives us a little bit of the wizard's backstory, right? He says you killed your mentor before your training was even complete. So we know he's not completely, 100% perfect in his craft. I really did like that. So we go back to the school, and we see a character that we've seen before, very, very briefly touched on before, when she was slut-shamed in the cafeteria. Now her locker, says slut. And we have Courtney sticking up for her. And, she's really not okay with this. She doesn't want things to be worse. And I do understand that. I do get it. But then we switch back to the hospital, and it's like, okay, Pat goes and checks on Brainwave in the hospital. And it's like, you always hear that, criminals, not that Pat's a criminal, but still, go back to the scene of the crime. And that's kind of what he's doing. He's really asking too many questions, and it's very, very weird. And I think it's really silly. But there is this one character, and keeps showing up, and I don't believe I've mentioned him before. He is the janitor, and something is he's definitely going to be on the JSA side. It looks like, honestly, he's keeping an eye on Courtney while she's at school, but he's definitely a different character. I don't know, like, you kind of get that creeper vibe from him, but I don't think that's it. I really don't. Again, these people, we're back at the wizard's home, and they don't see themselves as villains. They think they're doing good. That's what's so crazy to me. They think this new America is best for everybody. So whatever gets in their way, it's okay. We have a little bit of dialogue between the son, Mike, and Pat, and I do like him as a kid. I think he's mouthy. I think he's fun. But as Courtney's going home from school, we see her run into who's going to be, I believe, Rick Tyler. Now, this character is obviously our man, but we've seen him in detention. He was the one who had the knife. It was a very weird scene, and he's just barely showing up, but it's really, really working. So we also see back at school, I guess I forgot to mention before she left school, the card trick. Now, the thing about this is Wizard's son. And he's really nice to Courtney. Probably the first person that was really nice to Courtney at her new school. And he wants to show her a card trick. It's very cute. It's very innocent. But he gets the card wrong. And Courtney can't break his heart. Cameron actually sees that he gets the card wrong. And Courtney's just like, yes, you did it, So he's like, okay, you can keep this card. And it's a very cute moment. It just shows the innocence of this boy. And that's actually really important. So we're going to switch over to Barbara's work. Now, we did see last time that the gambler was really quite rude to her. Now we have Jordan there also, Icicle. And she opens her mouth once again, only to realize this time she wasn't shot down about an idea for a theater on Main Street. And he actually really likes the idea. Now, I think this is kind of disingenuous. I do feel like this is probably because of who her daughter is. And this is the beginning of some sort of small manipulation, right? So we go back to school, and the girl that had the slut on her locker is now painted over in a really pretty way. And this, we come to find out, is done by Cameron, which is Icicle's son. So he has no idea what's going on. He really does seem like a good kid. Now, if we're going by the comics, it's not going to stay that way. But as of right now, him and Courtney even have a mildly flirty moment. So we do get a for sure connection between, Barbara at work, her her picture falls, and, he realizes 100% who her daughter is. I think he kind of realized it before, but this leads him to make almost the bat signal of stars, right? So in the middle of Courtney walking through the park, she sees a star in ice, and she realizes it. She heads home. But this is also where I'm still a little questioning as far as Courtney's relation goes, right? So she does head home, and she says, I want to get justice for my father. She thinks Sylvester Pemberton is her father, and if you remember in the comics, he's not Starman. He's Star Spangled Kid. So what I'm wondering, and we did have mention in the first episode that Ted Knight made the staff. So I am wondering more than anything at this point if maybe Sylvester Pemberton is not her father, but possibility of her having some relation to the staff maker itself, Ted Knight. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see for that. That's just my personal, thing here. So Stars and Stripe take off. They both take off. And we get, them landing in the park where the ice was originally at. And of course, Icicle is there. Immediately he shoots an ice bomb, I guess you would call it, at Stripe. And he is frozen. He is locked up. He can't do anything. He just says, hello, goodbye. And then we have a little bit of a clash between him and Courtney. But what happens is when Icicle gets pushed away. Now this is probably leading into the best parts of this episode. He shoots the ice, and it lands on a bridge, right? So he knows what he's doing. Make this very clear. A bus is coming, and the bus spins out, and we have Stripe saving the bus, right? He gets the bus up there. All the kids are safe. Mind you, it is very important that you remember that Wizard's son is on this bus. And a truck starts coming by. And right at the same time, you see Icicle blow. And he blows Wizard's son cards out of his hand and blows ice on the truck. One thing leads to another. And we see the first real impactful death in this series. That is, I think I gasped literally out loud. So Joey is his name. He's dead. He doesn't just get wounded. He is dead, and it is terrible on so many levels. You go back to Wizard's house, and he walks in the door, and his wife's standing there because she doesn't know where her son is. Everything's reporting that everyone's safe, right? But Joey's missing. And you know that look when Wizard walks through the door. You just know. And she just breaks down. The pure emotion that went into that acting was fantastic. And they break down together. But immediately, instead of, staying with his wife, he's pissed. And I do understand that because he knows Icicle killed his child. Icicle, no remorse, killed his child for this new America because of StarGirl in a weird, twisted way. So, he takes off, he gets his wand, he takes off, goes right over to Jordan's, to Icicle's. That doesn't go so well. Like, not at all. So, Jordan simply puts his hand on the wand, and the wand's out of commission. Puts his hand on Wizard. And now we have the second most impactful death as far as this series go. And the reason why I say these deaths are important, because at the beginning of this episode, you see and empathize and feel bad for Jordan. But by the end of it, you realize nobody better double cross him. He doesn't care about human life. He only cares about New America and making things okay for his family. Not everybody's family. His family. And it's extremely selfish. But he doesn't see it that way. He sees it as, you're getting in my way, I'm going to take care of you. I love the way they do the villains. Honestly, the villains so far have been my favorite part of the show. But then we get probably the most important scene in this entire show, because it's going to lead us into the rest of the season. Pat takes Courtney to the JSA, original building. And we get to see not only the table, but we get to see the entirety of it. We get great pictures of members from the JSA, whether it's, Green Lantern, Alan Scott, or Dr. Fate. We get all of them, Thunderbolt, every single one. And we get to see all of their stuff. And it's really heart-wrenching. Like, my God. Yeah, animals have a special place with some people. And there is an owl there for Owlman, right? And he waits there until Owlman comes back. He doesn't know Owlman's dead. So he's been waiting there for his master. And he gives like this cute look. And it just melts your heart. So we know we are going to get a new one, but even so, I absolutely love it. Did I say Owlman or Hourman? I don't know. I'll just blame it on my backward talking. Anyways, I meant Hourman. I apologize. Oh, goodness. Wait, is it Dr. Midnight? Oh my God, I'm a mess. One of the two with the owl. It's cute. Okay, I'll put it in when I edit. I apologize. I totally should have wrote it down. So anyways, it's adorable. We see all of this, everything you could possibly need. And there's some really good points making because you have kind of yin and yang when it comes to Courtney and Pat. Because Pat's saying, these were the best of the best, Courtney. You can't expect to have new people and be as good. And she says, of course they were the best of the best, but that's not how they were when they started. And I really like that because it gives us the chance to know a new JSA, a younger generation. And that's what we know we're going to get with Wildcat and Hourman and Dr. Midnight. So I'm really excited to see that, but it's a good point. We're going to get a very year one style JSA, right? So I'm excited to see that. I do know next episode is called Wildcat. So, we're going to get the slut-shamed girl as our Wildcat and going to get to see how she, exactly does in that. But Courtney does go back right before the end and steal everything. And I mean everything down to Thunderbolt's pink little bin. So, it is fantastic that we are getting this. We're getting, like, this. I don't want to keep sitting here and shilling, but this episode, if you haven't seen it yet, and you don't want to, even get caught up, if this episode doesn't get you into this show, then nothing will. I am absolutely loving it. I'm also reading JSA at the same time. I think I'm on number 12 right now, but going back through, those Alex Ross covers are so good, but going back through and reading it, and I love me some Cyclone and Liberty Bell and all of these, off-the-wall characters, and that version of Starman is so different than the Starman I'm seeing now. Like, he's so crazy, but it's so good. Like, just, reading them and watching this at the same time is a really good combination for me. I love old stuff, though. I love old JSA and stuff, so let me know what you guys think. I guess I got a little off topic there about 44 times. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye. Hey guys, I want to give a huge shout out to my Patreon and subscribe stars. You guys literally make this channel possible. Huge thank you to Cage the Mick, Robert Mick Twiz, Black Knight Fool, Brucey, Chris Z, David L, David Rafford, Jeffrey Allen Carnes, Mighty Balls, Mike Buckner, Maizen Barbosa, Ruskar, Ryan Decker, Robert Hoffman, and Doc Holiday. You guys are absolutely amazing, and thank you so much for all your support. Don't forget on the way out to like as always if you enjoy the content and hit subscribe. And I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.